I'm Florence Lindhaus, Head of Hydrogen at the German Chamber of Commerce. On the panel we had Neil there from Photon. That's a Chinese company that's already got hundreds of hydrogen buses and trucks in China, and 2 in Adelaide, with the 3rd one arriving. And it was very interesting to hear from them how they consider the chances on the Australian market, and where they're going to get the supply of hydrogen from, and what sort of hydrogen that's going to be. I think that was really eye-opening for the audience. Then we had Tats Cardo from Sojit, whose company is very interested in the creation and agglomeration of hydrogen in Australia, and interestingly also invests in companies that can turn the hydrogen into then something else, such as e-fuels for shipping and aviation, to supply also the Japanese market or the Asia-Pacific market. And this is, in my view, the next big chance that Australia has to grab. And we had Derek there from Jexcon, a Norwegian company that deals with safety. So it was very interesting to hear from him about the safety aspects of the various refuelers, and how that differs or doesn't actually differ so much between states, and what the conditions are for also for a dual infrastructure. Where does it make sense to have hydrogen versus battery electric, and how do they complement each other? I also have the pleasure of having my previous MD here, Christoph von Spessart, who has led a Northern Germany delegation all the way from Germany to this conference to exchange a bit about hydrogen. It's so interesting to hear the different views at this conference from the Asia-Pacific region, but also from the Nordic delegations. We have a Dutch delegation and the German delegation. So it's really not just Asia-Pacific. This is a massively global conference, really, when you think of it. It's great to hear the different aspects. So, for example, we hear a lot about ammonia co-firing in the Asia-Pacific. This is not something that you would hear from in Europe. In Europe, you hear about hydrogen trains. Then you have the storage in a salt cavern already. There's the EU roadmap that calls for a hydrogen refueler every 200 kilometers. So in a way, they're advanced in a different way, but then it was great to hear today from China as well, and how they are deploying hydrogen buses in 100 different cities to create the demand. So all of that is really fascinating. And obviously, as the German Chamber of Commerce, we always try to bring in our experience, see where there is off-take possibilities, example being direct reduced iron, for example, but also where can German technology companies make a difference. And the other way around, we bring in Australian companies into Germany. So, for example, Provaris is one that can cover the distance between Norway and Germany with their compressed gas vessels. So that's how it works this way and the other. It's a several-pronged approach. It's fascinating to see how, as we progress in the hydrogen sector, we have different topics and different questions, and a different sense of urgency, perhaps. That's what I really love. But also, obviously, there's nothing like the connections and the networking on site. And can I just say, Fiona Simon has done an absolutely fantastic job bringing people together, not just from this country, but also from other countries and from the entire region. She's just incredible like that. No one else can do it. It's amazing. So it's an amazing value add, and it's an eye-opening perspective, because in Australia we are one continent and we feel a bit like we're on one island. But Fiona brings in that extra perspective, and it was great to hear from the USA this morning, for example, as well. Brings in that additional widening of our view.